I welcome each and every one of you to the Wells family. Thank you for your gift of Ray Wells. To lead our pledge to the flag and the singing of God Bless America is Past President Kevin Bank.
Please join me in the salute to the flag. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd like to invite the Reverend Rob Miller to lead our invocation.
On behalf of Old Paramus Reformed Church, I'm excited to be here, and we're excited to honor Ray. Let us begin with prayer. Let us pray. Almighty God, you have created this good world in which we find ourselves. Help us so to live that our gratitude and thanksgiving may be self-evident daily. We invoke your grace upon us with common purpose, symbolizing our Rotary motto, they profit most who serve best. Grant us such vision of your nature and the needs of your fellow human beings, that we may give ourselves in service as he who affirmed, I came not to be served, but to serve. We especially thank you for Ray and his family, and for his 50 years of service through Rotary. Ray gives us an excellent example of selfless service. We pray we may join Ray in service to others. So strengthen our bodies with his food and fellowship here at these tables, that we may go forth to achieve our common goal of service above self. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
To lead our four-way test is Past President Kevin Bank once again.
Just a word before we do the four-way test. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to have the privilege of being up here for Ray. Ray was my sponsor, and the only other person I would have wanted to sponsor me would have been my dad, Paul. So, but you're the next best thing, right? And you know, Ray is a great living example of living by the four-way test, right? And we all look up to you for that. Everybody is loving everything here. So with that, join me in the four-way test. This is the truth. Is the fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
And I'll call past District Governor Emil Gehring to take the show.
Thank you, President Jennifer, and thank you all for being here today. What a great crowd, and what a great reason to celebrate. In Rotary, we have a tradition of recognizing dignitaries and those who serve Rotary, and we recognize them by their seniority. Now, because we're a large crowd today, because so many people are here, I ask you please to save your applause until we're finished with the introductions. Now, for those who are visiting today and don't know some of the acronyms we use, a PDG stands for Past District Governor. A DG signifies a District Governor. And then if you hear PRI before any other letters, that is a past Rotary International official. So, I am honored to be able to first, at this time, just introduce by name. He will be formally introduced later, but by name and title, or rank if you will, past Rotary International Director and past District Governor, Ray Wells. Joining us momentarily will be our County Executive, Kathleen Donovan. Also with us today is the Honorable Richard LaBarbiera, Mayor of Paramus. Representing District 7490, our district, our Governor, Len Agrusti. From District 7230, we have with us Matt Engelson. And I hope I pronounced that correctly, Matt. From District 7890 in Connecticut, Frank Collins, past District Governor. And from District 7470, past District Governor, Bob Poultice. Returning to District 7490, former or past District Governors from our district, Paul Ritigliano, Dick Oakley, Brad Jenkins from District 7470, and a little misstep here. I noticed that our past District Governor, Bill Rutten, had entered the room. Bill, I went a little out of order, but hopefully I'll be forgiven. With us today is also Joe Dino, past District Governor, past District Governor Gloria Counselor, past District Governor Joe Loretti, past District Governor Dominic Jengo, past District Governor Suraj Bhatia, just joining us in the back of the room, past District Governor Adele Miller, myself, our District Governor-elect, Callisto Burton, who will be serving as governor next year, District Governor nominee Peter Wells, here with the Wells family, and finally, our District Governor nominee designate, Stephen Jerian. If you'd like to applaud, you may. Now we do the same with regard to spouses. Former First Ladies and spouses, certainly Ray's better half, Betty Wells. Joining Frank Collins is his lovely wife, Seal, Maureen Ritigliani, Nikki Oakley, Marion Dino, don't know if I'm here yet, Bill Miller, who accompanies Adele, Linda Court, my former First Lady, and lovely Linda Wells. And you may give your applause to these.
First, just on behalf of my family, I would love all of our family, friends, and Rotarians that are here. This really is a very special day for my family. It's really a special day for Rotary. It's a very special day for Park Ridge and for Paramus. The only one I like that was the Park Ridge Club. We're happy that you're here to celebrate with us my father's Rotary service, and I want to talk a little bit about Rotary and service and my dad. Behind every Rotarian, I would even believe that every successful volunteer in any community service organization is a strong network of family and friends. And for this, I know my father is very happy to each and every one of you that are here with you today. You are my father's family. There is an exception to every rule, but it's been my observation that the higher you go up in the chain of Rotary leadership, the more important it becomes for you to have a supportive partner. My mother is my father's soulmate, my father's best friend, and my father's Rotary buddy. My mom believes in community service. In her own effort, my mother encourages community service by example. As a class mom, a Girl Scout leader, and an active participant at our church. My mother has served as a volunteer in the Kurth Cottage gift shop at the Valley Hospital for 48 years. Even in retirement, my mom stays very busy with the Salvation Army. She is an inspiration, and she's my dad's reality check. My parents have 6 children, 4 of which are Rotarians, 18 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren. The newest to Rotary is my son Phil. He's with us today. in line to serve as the president of the Park Ridge Rotary Club in the next few years. My dad joined the Paramus Rotary Club in 1964. Our Paramus neighbor, Walter Benke, was his sponsor. You heard today how Kevin shared that my dad was his sponsor. So a little circle there. Ethel Benke is here with us today. Their son, Kevin, as he's already told you, was also sponsored by my dad. My father served as the president in 1969 of the Paramus Rotary Club, and I would follow to serve in 1985. And then my brother Tom, that's with us today here, served in 1989. My brother Jeff is the past president of the Paramus AM Rotary Club, and my sister Carrie, also with us, is a past member of the Patterson Rotary Club. My father went on to serve as the district governor in 1975, then RI committees, which led to his 2-year term on the board of directors of Rotary International. His tenure as an RI director included a term as the chairman of the RI executive board. Dad has attended 20 international conferences and served as the president's rep 19 times. My parents have visited much of the Rotary world and enjoy each and every opportunity to serve. They have made many good friends in Rotary, and you are part of them. To help welcome my dad to the podium, can I please ask anyone present that has been sponsored by my dad to please stand? Can I please continue standing? Just stay there. Okay. I would be one of those also. Can I ask all that have been mentored by my father to please stand? The crowd gets bigger. All that have been encouraged and inspired by his service, will you please stand? And I think we have a standing ovation. Dad, will you please come forward and share thoughts about Rotary?
I remember when I first went on the board of directors of Rotary, at the end of the year, we each had to make comments. And my comment was, God gave me my blessing in my hands. I'm an architect. Didn't give me the blessing to speak, such as my son Tom and other lawyers. But over the years, Rotary has forced me to probably make 500, 600 speeches. Each one I suffered through. And today I'm going to limit my comments to a couple brief comments. I'm here for 50 years of perfect attendance, not completely for myself, but the man above, who gave me the health to be here for 50 years. And also, if I have to give my help, my thanks to somebody here, at the end of 20 years of perfect attendance, I developed food poisoning down the shore. And I was going to miss my first meeting. And Peter was the president at that time. So he suspended the meeting and they continued it. They continued it over at Valley Hospital. 30 members of our club walked down the wall wearing white robes because they didn't know what I had. My nurse at the time was a black girl, and she said, "You're not a member of the Ku Klux Klan, are you?" But seriously, you don't make 50 years of perfect attendance without a good health. And I I'm so glad our new minister of the church I attend in Ridgewood was here, and a future Rotary, I understand, in the Ridgewood Club, was here to give the invocation. Thank you, Rob. I also could not help but think the only reason I'm here is because of my companion for the last 64 years as a wife and maybe 66 as a friend. We started dating. Betty was 15, I was 17, so that goes back. But Betty's been my complete supporter for my complete Rotary time and my complete term in life. And I would, again, like to acknowledge this, Betty. A couple few words about the Benke family. They lived next door to us, and when I was leaving New York and starting my own practice, I leaned over the fence. I said, Walt, I'm ready for Rotary. They just threw me out of the JCs because I'm 35 years old. Well, now I'm 36. And Walt leaned over and he says, when I think you're ready, I'll let you know. But Walt, to me, was the personification of what a good Rotarian should be and is. And Ethel, we're all proud of Walt, and I'm sure you were too. We miss him today. I wish he was here. Right. And also the Fowler family. Art Fowler, when I was district governor, Walt was my secretary, Art was my chief of staff. And Barry's father, Art, was probably one of my closest friends in Rotary, but also in many other things. He certainly bailed me out of a lot of architect-contractor problems, and I would have to acknowledge Barry because he's second in line on perfect attendance. Barry? And last, may I conclude by I'd like to make a lot of comments. A lot of people, so many of you are just meeting here, and I haven't seen you in a period of time. But I would like to generally thank everybody attending today in the spirit, not really of honoring me, but honoring the very things that I've tried to stand for, and that's service above self. Thank you very much.
And while we're waiting for lunch, I am honored to ask the Honorable Mayor of Paramus, Rich LaBarbiera, to please come forward and make a presentation. Mayor?
Thank you, Abel. Abel mentioned a lot of PBGs in the room, but really why we're here is because of a VIP. And it's with great honor, and it's also very humbling that I have an opportunity to help recognize you here today. You've not only been a pillar of Rotary, but you've been a pillar in the community that we call Paramus, and we thank you for your service. I often challenge young kids, you have a choice in life. 3 things you can do. You can either make things happen, you could watch things happen, or you could say, what happened? Ray Wells, you've made things happen. And congratulations on your 50 years of service. I have a proclamation here for you. Somebody said we should make it Ray Wells Day. As far as I'm concerned, every day is Ray Wells Day. Whereas Rotary International, founded in February 23rd, 1905 in Chicago, Illinois, USA, is the world's first and one of the largest nonprofit service organizations. And whereas there are over 1.2 million Rotary Club members, comprised of professionals and business leaders in over 33,000 clubs in 200 countries and geographic areas. And whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, encourage high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world. And whereas Raymond R. Wells has dedicated 50 years of service and 50 years of perfect attendance to Rotary International and all they encompass. And whereas Rotary funds projects and sponsors volunteers with community expertise to provide medical supplies, health care, clean water, food production, job training, and education to millions in need, particularly in developing countries. And whereas these efforts are providing much-needed operational support, medical personnel, laboratory equipment, and educational materials for health workers and parents, and whereas Raymond R. Wells held the position of Rotary International Director and past District 7490 Governor, and whereas Raymond R. Wells has done a great deal for the Borough of Paramus with his selfless commitment and dedication to many boards and organizations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Richard LaBarbiere, Mayor of Paramus, declare today Ray Wells Day.
The mayor of Oradell was not able to be with us today, but he was kind and considerate enough to have prepared a proclamation, and Jay Leone has asked our past district governor, Suraj Bhatia, to make that presentation. Suraj, would you please step forward?
As Abel mentioned, I am representing the mayor of Oradell, and I wish I had known that before. I would have tried to represent the governor of Louisiana and received a proclamation from him. But I am cognizant of the honor bestowed upon me by the president of Paramus Club and Jay Leone, the vice president of the club, and the Paramus Club, in asking me to read the proclamation from the town of Oradell. I am delighted and honored to do that, for I feel Ray Wells is not only an esteemed Rotarian member of the Paramus Club with over 50 years of service and perfect attendance, but he is a guiding light for all the members of our district. He's been a mentor, as his son very nicely represented. He's been a mentor to many, including me, as we have progressed in our journey of our Rotary service. So now I would like to read the Borough of Oradell's proclamation honoring Raymond R. Wells. With the respect and appreciation for a distinguished humanitarian, Raymond R. Wells, and in recognition of his many accomplishments as Member Emeritus of the New Jersey Society of Architects, founder of the Oradell Emerson Rotary Club, past president of the Paramus Rotary Club, past director of the Rotary International Club, member of the Oradell Planning Board, member of the Paramus Board of Education, member of the Building Committee of Hackensack Hospital, member of the Board of Directors of the Bergen County Girl Scouts. On behalf of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Oradell, I represent Joseph L. Murray, Jr., Mayor, congratulate Ray on a successful career, his selfless contribution to our society, and his wish Ray good health and happiness in future years. And I would like to add that to Betty as well, health and happiness, you are a wonderful couple, and I know that everybody in this room is here because they all admire you and look up to you. So Ray, would you kindly please join me over here so I can present this?
Well, many people were invited from far and wide, and due to geographical distances and scheduling difficulties, several people were not able to attend, but very much would have liked to be here today. And some of those Rotary officials and friends have sent us comments that I would like our past district governor, Joe Rennie, to highlight and read to Ray and Betty and to all of us. So while we're waiting for our lunch to be served, Joe, if you would please come forward and share some of the comments that we've received for the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Abel. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today. Hi, Betty. Ray, it's an honor to be here. I can't express that enough. Ray, you've been a mentor to me for many years, going back to the time I was sweeping floors like construction jobs. And to the present day. And I always feel if I need a word of advice, I would have said it. Pick up the phone and call. So I'd like to thank President Jennifer and Chairman Jay and Chairman Abel for asking me to help out with a little project to help communicate with some of the folks around the Rotary world. And we were able to reach out, and we received some very nice responses. And I'd like to read a few of them here to you today. The first is from current President of Rotary International, Ron Burton. Dear PRID Ray, congratulations on your 50 years of Rotary service. Your commitment to the highest ideals of this organization inspires all who have come to know you. Though we serve side by side within a community of dedicated leaders and friends, where the actions of each individual touches and enriches the lives of those around us, it is Rotarians like yourself that exemplify what makes Rotary special and a powerful force for good in the world. As Rotary President, I have met many accomplished Rotarians in every corner of the globe. However, your service history is among the most impressive that I have encountered. Beyond serving as distinguished member of our Board of Directors and being a dedicated contributor to our foundation as a major donor, Bequest Society member, and Paul Harris Fellow, you were instrumental in getting Rotary recognized on the international stage by the United Nations. You helped build our early representative network with the UN and other organizations. That network is still going strong today with more than 30 representatives at 16 international institutions. Ray, Rotary is more than its 1.2 million members. It is more than the titles we held, the meetings we attended, and the projects we implemented. Rotary is an idea, a notion that we have a responsibility to behave ethically and to give back in order to take action and build communities. Because of our legacy of service from Rotarians like you, Rotary is sharing the idea with the world and sharing that idea with the world and changing lives. We will have copies of these for you. We also received a response from past Rotary International President Chuck Keller, and this is a response that he wrote actually to Emil, and it says, Dear Emil, thank you so much for the invitation to attend a luncheon honoring Ray Wells for 50 years of service in Rotary and his 50 years of perfect attendance. Regrettably, Carol and I cannot attend because of a schedule conflict, but I do want to extend my congratulations to Ray. I have many happy memories of time spent with him at some institutes and conventions. Oh yes, and on the tennis court. He is so big and has such a wide swing, such a wide wingspan, that I always like to have him as my doubles partner. Ray's service to Rotary International at the international level covered a significant span of years. Rotarian leaders all over the world know him and respect him. In addition, I am much impressed by his record of perfect attendance. I also have a long string of perfect attendance, and I have often thought about why there are some Rotarians who keep that string going. I am sure part of it is habit, even consistency, but there is more to it than that. One develops a true camaraderie in the fellowship of Rotary. I have often thought that my adult education has been nicely provided by attending Rotary meetings on a regular basis. And then there are the new friends that one meets. This spills over into the district conference, where it is that the most important things that happen do not happen in plenary session. He goes on to say that he met his law partner in the course of one district conference, and then he met his wife at another district conference. It's a very interesting letter. We will also have a copy of that for you. We also got a response from the current Rotary Director, Bryn Stiles. And Bryn says, "Dear Ray, it is with a great deal of pleasure that I congratulate you on your 50th year of service in Rotary. You are a mentor and a role model for Rotarians and non-Rotarians alike. I received what I assure is just a small portion of an extensive service biography, and it is an awe-inspiring career. Rotary has benefited from your expertise in your term as director by having you participate in many of our influential committees, including the RI Presidential Nominating Committee, Fully Plus Fundraising Committee, and 3 Council on Legislation sessions. As well, you have continued to support your club and district in their endeavors. The length of your service speaks to the depth of your commitment. I am glad that we have Rotarians such as yourself among our ranks to continue to guide Rotary. I do not have to tell you to engage Rotary, for you truly have changed lives. Thank you for all that you do." I also had the opportunity to bump into past Rotary Director Mike Colasato yesterday. And I just happened to be in the same place at the same time. And I said, "Mike, we're going to miss you tomorrow." And he goes, "Oh, Joe, Joe, you got to promise me." So Mike Colasato, and I have to write this down, says, "Ray, over the years, you and Betty were a great source of help and encouragement to Andy. We can't thank you enough for all you did to help us, and we are truly blessed to be able to count you among our dearest friends. Our only regret is that we are unable to be here with you and Betty today to celebrate this milestone in what has been for you a life well lived." You don't want my hand. 2 more. And this is from the incoming Rotary Director, Julia Phelps. "Dear past Rotary International Director Ray, congratulations on your 50 years of service to Rotary International and your 50 years of perfect attendance. Over the past 2,600 club meetings," did you know that? 2,600. "You have had a front row seat to witness so much of Rotary's history. You were a member when the first Rotaract Club was chartered in the U.S. in 1968, and when Rotary Youth Leadership Awards was officially adopted in 1971. You were there in 1970 when the Council on Legislation became Rotary's Parliament. In 1978, when Health, Hunger, and Humanitarian 3H grants were developed, you were there as well. And of course, you were there in the 80s when the idea of admitting women into Rotary was being passionately discussed. You witnessed the beginning, middle, and end of Rotary's efforts to end polio. But in true Rotary fashion, you haven't just witnessed all of this Rotary history, you played an active role in creating it. You served as your club president in 69-70, as district governor in 75-76, as RI training leader, and an RI director from 1984 to 1986. In all of those roles, you not only served, but you distinguished yourself by assuming additional responsibilities. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to service." And finally, we reached out to the Rotary Global History Fellowship, and we received a letter, and Matt's is here, and I very much liked your letter, Matt's. "Dear Ray, you are recognized for your accomplishments as chairman of Rotary International Central Office Facilities Committee from 1984 to 1988. Now you might be wondering, what's this all about? Now during this time, Rotary International purchased the current headquarters building at One Rotary Center on 1560 Sherman Avenue in Evanston, Illinois. Your committee oversaw the procurement and renovation of the Rotary headquarters building. The committee also oversaw the sale of the old Rotary headquarters on Ridge Avenue in Evanston. These are important accomplishments in the history of Rotary International and will be recorded on the website of Rotary Global History Fellowship. And that's it. So we're very, very nice.
I'd like to ask past district governor from our district to the south, 7470, Bob, if you would please come forward and share a few words with us.
Past director, that's okay. I've been called worse. At any rate, it's an honor and privilege to be here, Ray and Betty. We love that family. They are charming, lovely people and done a lot for a lot of people, including me. When I came in as a director of Rotary International, I followed Ray, and he said, just listen to me and I'll tell you how to do it. And I did, and he was right. He picked the people, and I just blessed him. I said, yeah, you come on, you're going to be fine. It'll work out good. And it did. We went to Clark Ridge, Marriott, right here in this district. Great hotel. And the district governor nominees who came were trained properly because Ray said, this is how you got to do it, and I did it. Just like he said. He smiled all the way. He says, that's exactly what I would have done. If it was right. If otherwise, he'd just look the other way. And it was a phenomenal event. And after we were finished, before we took the training, Ray says, I'm going to open the house to you and all of your candidates and their wives. Betty's shaking her head right now, just remembering what that was like. We had everybody come in buses parked on the front lawn of that building where he used to be his architectural building, and they lived there. What was it, Blanco or something? Mansion? Yeah, mansion. It was a beautiful place. How many people have been in that thing? Yeah, there you go. See, half the place know about that place. Well, it was remarkable. It was a magnificent time. We had a wonderful time. The hotel was great. Everybody walked away. They were smiling and happy. It was a phenomenal event, and we really did enjoy it. So it's called Broadway Bound, and all of these district governors and wives went into the city. We had buses. Brad Jenkins, the next guy up, is the guy that arranged for all that. He got buses, and we went into New York. Everybody went to the Broadway show, and it was a phenomenal event, thanks to Ray and Betty. I wanted to mention, it was already mentioned, 18 stories that we have in Rotary, in Evanston, Illinois. It was Ray and a team of people who put that together. And I remember people would say, when are we going to rent every space? And Ray tells me it was a very short time after we owned that, the 18 stories in Evanston, Illinois, that we were making pretty good money out of that purchase. And we owe you a debt of gratitude, I'll tell you. So, Ray was an advisor to hundreds of people, but we couldn't count them. Many people are here, and you were advised, you used him as an advisor. There were so many people that got so much from this family. I remember he'd give out Paul Harris Fellow pins like it was bubble gum. Everybody had to have a Paul Harris pin, at least in his family. You had dogs? I don't know. You had dogs? Did you ever have, did they have Paul Harris? No, I don't think so. But at any rate, he was very, very helpful in supporting the Rotary Foundation and what it does on this planet. If you think about that, you realize the impact this man has had. The question always is, how can we help? That is the question. How can we help? If Ray is your moderator, or your helper, your confidant, it will guarantee it'll change your life. And so we owe you a debt of gratitude for having changed our lives. Thank you, Ray. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Bob's a friend of the district for many years, and because we're so close, we see him as occasionally and frequently as we can when we have special events just like this. Another past dignitary from the same district, 7470 to our south, Brad Jenkins, would like to share a few words about his association with Ray over the years in a very special part of Rotary service. Brad?
Thank you, Emil. Ray and Betty, it's a pleasure to be here today. Bob just mentioned the Park Ridge Institute that was called Broadway Bound. That was the first time I met Ray in 1996. Over the years, Ray has been very generous with his home and hosted many RI presidents. And in 1999, he hosted my president, Carlo Ravizza. And the reason I mention that Ray was a mentor to all of the district governors in the surrounding districts. You know, every year he would gather us together. Ray served on a number of UN-related committees. In 1992 and 93, he was a member of the UN Liaison Advisory Committee. In 2000 and 2001, he was the chairperson of the UN Agency's Task Force. And in 2001-2002, he was the vice chairman of the UN Delegation and Diplomatic Relations Committee. My relationship started with Ray in 2001 when I became an alternate representative to the UN. And Ray held several meetings at his home in Oradell, where we would discuss the relationship of Rotary and the United Nations. And as many of you may know, Ray is a prolific writer and loves to write letters. A good example of that is a letter to the editor in September of 1992. Ray sent it to the Rotary. And I'm just going to read just part of it. I salute the Rotarians' continued excellent coverage of Rotary's Preserve Planet Earth environmental endeavor in the second year in its 3-year pilot program. Preserve Planet Earth is a middle-of-the-road program established to assess claims by extremists on both sides of the issue and initiate constructive program to meet the very needs. Like Polio Plus and other Rotary programs, PPE, as it was called, is a reason to be proud to wear the pin that we wear. And I'd also like to read a letter to you, and this says, Dear Ray, so your service to Rotary has now reached the magic half-century mark. Is that possible? What a wonderful achievement for both you and for Rotary International. Over the years, it has been my great privilege to serve with you on the board of directors, as well as so many other Rotary assignments. I always admired your vision and creativity in facing these new issues. What a great contribution you made to Rotary as chairman of the Preserve Planet Earth Committee, and also your service to Rotary's representative to the United Nations. Frankly, I don't know what the Rotary Board has been doing in these last 25 years, since I'm sure we solved all of Rotary's current and future problems when we served on the board. One special occasion I often recall was a time you and Betty invited a busload of Rotary officers to your beautiful home in Oradell after a United Nations seminar. It was certainly a great day for all of us. So thanks, Ray, for your years of Rotary service and the very special friendship you have shared with us. Let's hope there are many more years ahead. You guess who that is? Cliff Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Most Rotarians are aware of the fact, but for those of you who are not Rotarians, Rotary represents one of only 2 NGO seats at the United Nations. And as you just heard, Ray was very instrumental in serving in that capacity on behalf of Rotary. And Ray, as with everything else, we thank you for that important aspect of your Rotary career. On behalf of the Oradell Emerson Rotary Club, I'd like to ask Mark Dance to come forward. And this is a Rotary Club that Ray started or helped found rather. And it's one of probably at least a dozen Rotary clubs in New Jersey that I'm aware of, and I think he's carried the same tradition down in Florida. Mark would like to recognize Ray. Mark, please come forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm one of 2 active charter members of the Oradell AM Rotary Club, founded by Ray Wells. Scott Lurie, our current president, is the other. And regrettably, he had to be out of town on business. One other charter member is here today, Willie Egg. Willie's presence is most appropriate. She has known Ray much longer than any of us. Ray was once Willie's Sunday school teacher. And this fact inspired us to select the recognition we chose. The Oradell Public Library is in need of funds to expand its collection in the children's section to support the Common Core curriculum standards for public schools. Specifically, books of nonfiction and creative thinking are needed. We're donating $1,000 for this purpose. A plaque will be affixed in the junior room stating the following. In recognition of Raymond R. Wells for his contributions to the community, Oradell Emerson Rotary Club, May 15th, 2014. Thank you, Ray.
Well, that's one thing I have in common with Willie Egg. Ray Wells was our Sunday school teacher. And he used to say, when I was one of his students, he couldn't get me to talk or respond or answer questions. And now they say, I can't be shut up. I hope you're not that way, Willie. Well, we were privileged to have an invocation delivered by Reverend Bob Miller from the Old Paramus Reformed Church. And Bob has asked to say a few words about Ray and Betty, and please come forward. Thank you, Reverend.
You might have guessed that I was not the minister back then when I was teaching Sunday school. In fact, I didn't start at Old Paramus until November of last year, and I believe it might have been the second Sunday service. Ray came out promptly, and I was greeting people, and he came up to me and said, I just want you to know we're leaving. But it's not you. We go to Florida every year. I'll see you in the springtime. And I was serving a church in New York prior to this. It was a wonderful church, a beautiful old home. But they had a one-car garage, and they had voted 25 years ago to replace it, but it was leaning, and the roof was falling in, so we never could park our car. And when we felt like it was time for a new church, my wife said, we're going to find one that has a really nice garage. And so when we were visiting the church at Old Paramus, we discovered that they had this huge garage, bigger than some houses. 4 cars could fit in there. It has a beautiful attic, and Ray, in fact, designed it for the church. And so I'm not saying that only because of Ray's garage that we became a minister there, but it shows you Ray's service at church. And I'm reminded there is a proverb in our Old Testament of the Bible where it says, raise your children in the way of the Lord, and they shall not stray from the path. As I sit at this table, I see Ray and Betty's children. You see what good people they are, how they have raised wonderful children. And I know firsthand that I'm a person who needs a lot of support from my wife, so I also want to recognize Betty. They're a huge part of Old Paramus Reformed Church. I look forward to getting to know them more, and I continue to hear stories of all that they do at our church. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. One of our own members, Lois Horowitz, probably been a member for 25 years, said to me, Emil, you know, everybody probably has a Ray Wells story, but not everyone knows that Ray was so active in so many ways outside of Rotary. I would just like to say a few words about some of the things and involvements that Ray has had over the years. Lois, would you please come forward?
In 1974, an old house in my town was going to be demolished. And somebody said to me, you know, there's only one person you can speak to. His name is Ray Wells. He's an architect. He understands the heritage of Bergen County. You have to go to him and find out how old this house is. So I did call Ray and came to the house, looked at it, looked at the beams. He said, these are old beams from sailing ships. And look at the floor. Pieces of Dutch clay pipes are broken off. They broke them off because they wanted to use the pipe or somebody else could use the pipe next, and they didn't have their germs on it. So I went to the freehold. First I went to my town of Fairlawn. They turned me down. But then I went to the freeholders, and I told them about Ray's report, and they said, well, I'll tell you what. We'll give you $35,000 if you raise the 240 that's needed. I spoke to Ray. He said to me, get to know some of the freeholders. Joe Lesseman was a freeholder. She asked me if I'd like to go to the Department of Environmental Protection. We went down, we got $100,000. Well, folks, I'll tell you, when the freeholders saw what I could do, they said, would you like to be on the Cultural Commission? That's all volunteer work. And I said, definitely. The next thing we did, we raised all the money needed. Everybody was at the dedication. They came to me and they said, we'd like you to be the first Assistant Director of Culture and Historic Affairs. Again, I thought this was a volunteer job, and I said, definitely. But then they told me I had to find out about my pension. Then I realized it was paid. And so, Ray, you started me off the first job with pension. Now, I was there for about 18 months, and they said to me, we'd like you to be at Bergen Pines County Hospital. I went to Bergen Pines, and I looked around. It was great. It looked terrible, and I was an interior designer, graduate of Parsons School of Design and Rutgers University, so I knew I could do things there that were unique. But on the grounds was an old gazebo built in 1930 by the Knights of Columbus, and it was in terrible condition. I went to Ray and I said, do you think you could go to the Paramus Rotary Club? Well, Ray not only went to the Paramus Rotary Club, he went to the District Governor Jack Rosen. They picked it up as a program, and they completely took care of the reconstruction of the gazebo, which saved the county government $200,000, because that was the bid that they had received. So they came to me again, they said, we're going to promote you to director. That's great. The pension was going to go up. And now I was doing a lot of things that I really and truly enjoyed. And Ray, every 15th of the month, I thank you, because that's when the check comes in. But you know, you don't realize how much Ray does until you start going around Bergen County. We bring people in from all over the world with friendship exchange. We take them to the Aviation Hall Museum, which is in Teterboro. And I'll tell tell you folks, there's a room there, the Raymond R. Wells Skyline. And that room is in honor of a man that helped to make that one of the most outstanding museums in New Jersey and the finest aviation museum in the United States. So if you get a chance, go over and enjoy it. We don't realize how one person can change our lives. And Ray Wells, you changed mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lois. We have a few presentations of recognition that we'd like to make. And at this time, I would like to call, and I'm honored to call, our sitting District Governor, Leonard Brewsty, to please come forward with the presentation. Governor?
A lot of people have said an awful lot about Ray Wells. But let me tell you something. In 1964, two things happened in my life that changed my future. One of them was Ray joined Rotary, and the second thing was I graduated Marquette University. So that's 1 year I'll never forget for 50 years of dedicated service that Ray has provided. Ray has been a mentor. I'm his newest district governor that he mentored. No matter when I needed help from Ray throughout my year as governor, it was a matter of sending an email, and then moments later, he never missed an email. The emails always came back, guiding me in my performance in this district. And I was so proud to be the governor of the district, and he was so significant in my life. And Ray, I can't thank you enough. At this time, Ray, it gives me an honor and privilege to present the Governor Award to you for outstanding dedication to Rotary for over 50 years and being a true member of 100% attendance. I am one to vouch that I think it's about 200% attendance. Are we allowed to say that? But perfect attendance, you're amazing. You're really amazing. God bless you, Ray.
Ray, hold it for a second. Okay, thank you.
That's a great shot for our monthly district governor's newsletter, and let's hope we can get that one into the Bergen record as well. Thank you, Governor. I'd like to call at this time our club, Paramus Rotary Club President Jennifer Padalino, also to make a special presentation to Ray. Jennifer?
Before I do that, I just wanted to say something because District Governor Brewsty actually mentioned about email. And before I became president, there was one warning that I received from a lot of members. And that was to make sure, be careful with what you send in your email because Ray reads all the emails. So, but also I have a personal story with Ray. When I joined Rotary, that was back in 2000, and I remember being that I'm the first Asian, I guess, at that time, and being a woman, I was very nervous to join a club, and it was Ray and Walt Benke who made me very, very welcome and comfortable with the Paramus Rotary. So thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome that I received from you guys. It is on behalf of the Paramus Rotary Club It is my honor and privilege to present this to you, the President's Award, presented to Raymond R. Wells. I can't read this. In recognition of your 50 years of membership and perfect attendance, Rotary Club of Paramus 2014.
One, two, three. Okay.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. We have just a little bit of program left, and I'm sorry that we're running about 10 minutes beyond the time that we thought we might be, but as I say, just a few more things. And now I'm very happy to call forth Jay Leone, a banquet manager here at Seasons, who is responsible for everything we've been enjoying in this room today, including the fine fare. Jay is a member for less than 10 years, so not necessarily a new member, but he works here, but yet he joins us at our meetings. He's a member of the board. He's incoming, or is vice president of the Paramus Rotary Club. And Jay had the inspiration about a year ago to recognize Ray's 50 years of service because he was just so bowled over. We all think of Ray as a guiding light, as a mentor, but Jay thought this was something just so significant that he wanted to pay special attention to you, Ray. And quite frankly, we wanted to do this as a testimonial dinner, and Ray got word of it. And you know what you heard about the emails? Well, the emails came back. He wanted nothing to do with that. So, fortunately, we were able to twist his arm, and with Betty's help, we got Ray to acquiesce to today's luncheon, and I'm sure he's very, very happy about that. But at this time, I'd like to call Jay Leone forward to make some special gifts and presentations. Jay?
Thanks, Emil. Obviously, for those that don't know, I am the current Vice President of the Paramus Rotary. Let me first thank everyone for coming. We appreciate you driving out here from all over the place to join us with the Wells family. This wasn't easy getting this thing started, as Emil had said. My first mistake was, of course, not letting Mr. Wells know that I was planning something in his honor. And when he inadvertently found out that something was planned, well, that's a mistake I'll never make again. But this whole idea got to me because I was the secretary of the Paramus Rotary Club in 2012 and 2013, and I was asked by our club parliamentarian, Barry Fowler, to order, well, one of my jobs was to order the perfect attendance pins. So I had just going through the list, and it was very impressive that other members of the club were celebrating years of service, and of course then I came to the last one, and it was number 49. And there was a pretty wide gap in between that and the next one. And it just stuck in my head. I don't know for what reason. My secretary year came to an end, and I became vice president, and I went to Barry in June of 2008 when I ended my secretary year, and I said to Barry, you know, there's just something about this thing that's got me. I just feel like I need to do something. And so I went to Barry and I said, you know, we need to make some kind of an event or something, being that I was now vice president and not in charge of pins or anything else. But that number 49 and then that number 50 just stuck right with me. So I said, you know what? Let me make a dinner. We were going to do a dinner and so on and so forth. If you've heard now, Emil say, well, that didn't go over. Which, actually, I'm glad, because I probably would have had to get the Venetian to do it, because we had 200 today for lunch. So I can't imagine what a dinner would have brought. in any case, I approached the board of directors at that time and had requested from them to give me permission to put together an event. And of course, it was given a unanimous consent. So I took it upon myself, well, I didn't realize what I got myself into, because shortly thereafter, I was getting the emails from international, overseas, and so I quickly said to myself, there's no way I'm going to get this done. And I called up my best protege there, District Governor Emil, who, of course, didn't even bat an eyelash and jumped right in, because I didn't want to break any protocols, because I'm a little bit of a bad speaker, and I happen to speak with my mind when I shouldn't. So I didn't want to insult anybody. So I called on Emil, and he very graciously accepted to help me do this. So after we turned it back into a lunch, I felt the reason to tell you the story. There are certain people that you meet during your life who change sometimes your direction and your way of thinking. And I come from an Italian background, and my mother is very stubborn, and there's not many things that change my mind or my direction. And not many people in my life have been able to do that. However, for me, that's what Ray Wells has done for me. I was at a point where I wasn't sure where I was going, what I was doing, and having trouble with my mom, and he was one of my mentors, and I'm very honored to call him one of my mentors, because he just installed that taking care of things and just getting things done, and he was just always there. He always came to the meetings with a smile, and there was just so much outpouring of what he did in Rotary, and of course what you've heard today outside of Rotary. And to me, that's just an outstanding achievement, and that's why I thought it would be great to put this thing together. So I'm glad it did come, because he was emailing me from Florida, and he knew more about what was going on than I had even planned yet. So he was getting information from God knows from the Lord above, I'm sure, because he was the only one that knew above Ray what I was doing. So, in any case, Mr. Wells, and I know you prefer Ray, because you always correct me when I say Mr. Wells, but I will address you as Mr. Wells and Ray. I personally cannot express in words how lucky I am to have had my life path cross with yours. You have inspired me to uphold the 4-way test and everything I think, say, and do, and continue to help me to be the best Rotarian I can be. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you and your family.